Hello everyone, and welcome to this new series on my channel I'm calling I'm Running Out of Ideas, where I take all the weird, niche, and oddly specific video ideas I have written down in my notes and actually make videos out of them. So Slime Rancher 1 has a lot of lore and good world building, and surprisingly enough, that even extends to all the fictional food it contains. Well, sometimes fictional. The Slimepedia actually contains detailed descriptions for a lot of these, including sometimes their taste, so I thought it'd be fun to organize all these food items from which to base based on what I think they would taste like in real life. But before we start the ranking, I still need to explain a few things. First, I'm gonna judge all of these entries by themselves. What I mean by that is that I'm gonna assume that for each of these foods, they're being served raw as is. Well, obviously for a few of them I'm gonna assume they're cooked, you'll understand why when we get to those entries. But basically, if I took a bite of the food without preparing it in any way, how good would it taste? I'm setting this ground rule mainly to make my life easier, because I really do not want to start making research on how you should cook and season parsnip, but also because some of these food items are ingredients and you can't really prepare or cook them without just making a whole dish out of them with other ingredients, so I'm also doing this as a way to make sure everything is on equal footing here. Oh, also, a disclaimer that I probably shouldn't even have to make, this list is entirely subjective and also very stupid. Obviously the placements here are going to be based entirely on my own preferences, but also just don't take this seriously. Again, this video is dumb. I am literally talking about food from a video game here. Alright, now that the most obvious disclaimer I've probably ever made is out the way, I think we can finally start the list. So with all that said, without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Number 19, the Cucadoba. Alright, so we're starting with the bottom of the barrel, the Cucadoba. Probably the funniest entry on this list. At first glance, this one doesn't look too bad, it's just a little purple fruit, but the Slimepedia says that it tastes and smells horrible to a majority of people, and that most who've tasted it described it tasting like stinky cheese. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound all that appetizing. Well, to be fair, it is said that not everyone dislikes Cucadobas, which includes Ogden obviously, though honestly I think that makes me want to eat it even less. Now the reason I'm saying this entry is funny is because this is an obvious reference to durians, which are an actual real-life fruit that perfectly fit the description of the Cucadoba. And if you don't believe me, in its Slimepedia description, it's called the King of Fruits, which is also what the durian is called in real life. So yeah, the Cucadoba is literally just a purple durian. I'm pretty sure this is the only food item in this game that does a direct parallel to a real life food without straight up just being the food, which is really funny to me. Like I said, Slime Rancher really has great world building. I mean, the Cucadoba sounds awful though, it's still in last place, but its Slimepedia description is really cool. Number 18, the Gilded Ginger. Yeah, I mean, I don't think raw ginger is very good. It is edible, but that sounds pretty disgusting. The gilded ginger might also be made of, like, actual gold. I don't really know because the Slimepedia doesn't say anything about that, so for the sake of this ranking, I'm gonna assume it's just regular ginger. That's not really gonna help it though, because it's still raw ginger. I heavily doubt that that tastes good, especially on its own. Next up is number 17, the spicy tofu. You know, I've never had tofu, but apparently it tastes like beans, and I hate beans, so... And it's not like making it spicy is gonna help either. The spicy tofu still doesn't look appealing at all. Especially with how it never makes slimes full. What's up with that? I don't know, but it's definitely not making me want to eat it any more than I want to without that info. Number 16, the phase lemon. So ignoring all the quantic implications of the phase lemon and how it comes from another reality and whatnot, it's a literal lemon. Raw lemon isn't exactly very tasty. I do have to go by the rules I set, and biting into a lemon is not super pleasant. I've done it before, I'm talking from experience, you can trust me on that. I mean, it doesn't straight up taste bad, but it is really acidic, obviously, and the phase lemon is definitely not something I would willingly eat. Especially, again, considering all the weird quantum physics shit going on with it, that kinda scares me. Number 15, the odd onion. Well, like the phase lemon, this would probably just taste like its real-life equivalent. And just like it, I don't really like raw onions. And just like it again, it also has some weird implications that especially don't make me want to eat it. For starters, it's called the odd onion. You know, if people collectively decided to call this thing weird, it's probably for a good reason. But it also can't grow in patches, and it only rarely grows out of carrot patches. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that either, but it also kinda scares me. Number 14, the carrot. Oh, we reached the one entry that's literally just a real-life food. Yeah, I mean, this is just a carrot. What do you want me to say? No, like, actually, this gives me absolutely nothing to talk about. There's literally nothing interesting about it in the Slimepedia. I mean, I guess carrots are fine. They're definitely not my favorite vegetable, but they taste okay, and God, this is so dumb. You know what a carrot tastes like? I don't need to explain that. let's just move on. Number 13, the silver parsnip. Oh look, it's a carrot, but fancy. And also it has a metallic aftertaste apparently. I don't know if that's safe for consumption, but the Slimepedia does say that it's often eaten by ranchers during the holidays, so I'd assume it is. It's also said that it's considered a delicacy by some people, so that's something. I still probably wouldn't feel super safe eating a veggie that tastes like metal, but it sounds pretty good. I honestly don't mind the taste of metal at all, as weird as that may sound, and parsnips also taste pretty decent, so this is definitely something I'd be down to try, but it's far from the most appealing food in this game. Number 12, the heartbeet. And that's now our third root vegetable in a row that would probably taste extremely similar to how it does in real life. Kinda sweet, earthy, yeah, again, you probably know what beets taste like. The only interesting thing in the Slimepedia is that the heartbeet is said to be unusually juicy. And yeah, that's it. Apart from that, it's just a regular beetroot but shaped like a heart. In case you forgot, I am judging these by themselves, and raw beetroot as is isn't exactly the most delectable thing ever, so it's not going any higher than this. Number 11, the prickle pear. Okay, so as you'll see in the later half of this list, I really like fruits, and I think they're usually the most appetizing stuff in Slime Rancher. That doesn't really apply to the prickle pear though. First of all, its Slimepedia entry says that it has thick leathery skin and it's also covered in spikes. I don't know, when something in nature is trying this hard to not be open, maybe that's a sign you shouldn't eat it. The prickle pear is also described as an acquired taste, which to me sounds a lot like a nice way to say that it just tastes really weird. I mean, to be fair, it is also apparently one of the sweetest fruits in the known universe, so it probably wouldn't be that bad, but it still doesn't sound or look nearly as good as any of the other fruits I put higher. Number 10, water. Yep, I'm even including that. I mean, it is an edible item that's in Slime Rancher, so for all I know, it counts for this list. And much like the carrot, what the fuck do you want me to say? It's water. I guess it's pretty satisfying to drink, and I can definitely say for sure that it doesn't taste bad. Beyond that, you know what water tastes like, so how am I supposed to explain or justify this placement any further? Well, I don't know, and I don't really care, so let's just get to the next entry already. This is really stupid. Number 9, the roostro, 8, the stony hen, 7, the painted hen, 6, the briar hen, and 5, the hen hen. Yeah, I grouped all the chickens together because there's really nothing differentiating them from one another. The only interesting thing I have to say about these is that the Slimepedia description for the regular hen hen says that it's 2 times tastier than a real chicken. So yeah, I just assume all of these taste like chicken but better. Oh, also, obviously these are all some of the entries that I said I'd assume would be cooked. I don't think I need to explain my decision here. Anyway, chicken's pretty good. It is definitely bland when served as is with no seasoning. But I mean, the hen hens are twice as tasty as a regular chicken, so they would probably taste good even without seasoning, right? Oh, and another thing, the rooster is in last place because apparently rooster meat is more lean and tough than hen meat. I don't know how true that is, since I've never had rooster meat, but I'm just gonna assume it is true and put the rooster in last place of this group because of that. Aside from that, like I said, these all probably taste the exact same, just like better chicken, which does actually sound decently good. Number 4, the Oka Oka. Alright, this is our last entry that I assume would be cooked for the purposes of this list. I think raw potatoes are technically edible, but they probably taste like shit and nobody eats them like that anyway, so yeah, I'm judging these as if they were cooked. Potatoes are pretty good already, although they are kind of bland without seasoning, but that's where the Oka Oka is actually pretty awesome, because it's apparently naturally salty. I don't know how that works, but it essentially makes these things just salty potatoes. Now that still sounds a bit bland, but listen, the bar for this ranking is pretty low, plus potatoes are decently good even if they're just seasoned with salt. Overall, not the most appetizing thing ever, but Oka Okas do look pretty good. Number 3, the pogo fruit. Like I mentioned in the prickle pear segment, I really like fruits, so most of them will be near the top of the list. The pogo fruit is kind of like an apple, a really common, round, and red fruit. Now, I don't know if it actually tastes like one. In fact, the Slimepedia only says that it tastes a bit like peach. I mean, I love peaches, I think they taste really nice, but that doesn't leave me with a whole lot to talk about. Again though, I do like peaches and just fruits in general, so the pogo fruit still sounds really good to me. I just barely know what it would taste like, so I can't really elaborate more than just saying I like fruits and it looks very appetizing. Number 2, the cubeberry. Yeah, this is quite literally a strawberry, but in the shape of a cube. I mean, strawberries are already a top tier fruit in real life, and that really wouldn't change if you made them bigger and square shaped. They're really good, and honestly among some of my favorite fruits, so the cubeberry is definitely one of the most delicious looking foods in Slime Rancher to me. Yeah, that's it, I don't really have anything else to add. I mean, this is kinda just a strawberry, so Well, anyway, finally, the number 1 spot goes to... Yeah, there's no suspense, it's the mint mango. The very thing that inspired this video idea. I think the mint mango is the only video game food where I have seen more than one person say they die and or commit a crime to be able to taste one. And honestly, I kinda get it. Mangoes are my favorite fruit in real life, and this one just sounds exquisite. It's super sweet, has a slight mint aftertaste, thick syrupy juice, and it honestly just looks amazing too. Like, this is by far the most scrumptious looking artwork for a food in Slam Rancher. God, I just want this thing to be real so bad, it just sounds so good. And I really don't think I need to explain myself that much here. For some reason, the Slam Rancher fandom, from what I've seen, seems to have an obsession with the mint mango specifically, so I think most people totally get why this is my number 1 spot. And so, that was my list. I honestly don't really know how to write an outro to this. This was a very dumb video idea. In fact, it's probably the dumbest idea I'll make for this series, but it was still really fun to make my list and try to come up with a good justification for all these entries. I'm not gonna lie, this is an idea I've had sitting in my notes for like a good year now, and I really wanted to actually make a video out of it because of how weird and funny it was to me. The other episodes of this series I'll make in the future will definitely be less specific and will give me more to talk about. In fact, I have a few video ideas for this written down already, and none of them are nearly as ridiculous as this one. I definitely started with the most outlandish one I had in mind, but at least this was really funny to do research for and write. Well, I think that's about all I had to say for this one. So as always, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.